All right, hey everyone, back with another episode of D'ART Shtajio's vlog, episode 11.
Yeah.
Right?
Hello, everyone.
I'm Henry Thurlow, and
This is Arthel.
all right. So this week, what are we going to talk about? We're going to talk about live action adaptations of anime
okay.
because recently around the studio, this has been coming up again and again and again.
Yeah.
Hey, did you hear they're making a live action Akira anime movie?
Yeah.
Hey, did you hear they're making a live action One Piece Netflix series?
Cowboy Bebop
live action.
Yeah.
So, every time that comes up, same conversation pops up. Like, is that a good idea? Is it a bad idea?
Yeah.
What are the positives? What are the negatives? So, want to take it?
Yeah, which I think this is an interesting topic because online people are just raging about it. Although I will say Hollywood seems to be getting a bit better. Like Pokemon came out.
Oh yeah.
And I think I didn't watch it, but you watched it.
I kind of like that Pokemon movie. I thought it was cool. I hope that spins off into its own franchise actually, and there's a few more of those.
So I think it's interesting because like Hollywood had this whole. So I think we're kind of specifically talking about the Western adaptations. Like because in Japan there's a whole they've been doing it ever since they've been making anime.
Rurouni Kenshin.
Yeah, Tokyo Ghoul.
Gantz.
Gantz. One of my favorites is Inuyashiki.
The Gantz creator. Yep, that's his next thing.
So the live actions of those are actually pretty good, and I think you can watch Inuyashiki on. Actually, I don't know.
Netflix. It might be Japanese Netflix though.
Yeah.
But so for right now today, I guess we'll just stick with like Hollywood Western productions because Japan, they produce a lot of live action versions of their stuff. But specifically, like when Hollywood decides, hey, we're gonna make a Speed Racer movie. Yeah. How does that turn out?
Yeah,
right.
Yeah.
So
and this is a good idea or a bad idea. And I will say that I don't think that. So my first stance is that I don't think that anything is a bad idea. I wouldn't agree with the people online who say stop turning anime to live action. So that's like saying stop turning novels to live action or anything else. It's exactly the same. Yeah. And I think there's nothing wrong with that because you build on the fan base. You get people who are interested in it, and then they go off and they go and watch. Yeah. They might go watch the original one. They'll read the original books. I think I always feel that that's just a separate thing, So there's movies and then there's this. Now, what do you think though?
So in the past, when I was like just a nerdy fan in high school or college, I probably would have been like, we don't need that, And even nowadays, I see animators posting, why do you need live action versions of the stuff that already exists? Yeah. I kind of agree with that when it comes to the live action like Disney movies, kind of, because
I really like Aladdin.
So, I think that's almost a separate conversation because the same company owns just all of the rights to that,
so they know how to build
and so they're just building their own franchise like in succession. But I would have always been like, oh, you don't need that, right? But you know who changed my mind, actually? I mentioned this probably a couple times on here. I go to the Vampire Hunter D creator, Hideyuki Kikuchi's Talk Live event in Shinjuku a few times a year. And I meet him, and he talks to fans, and he just talks about, stuff he's making and stuff he hopes gets produced by his, different franchises he's made. And for years, he's really actually wanted a live-action Vampire Hunter D movie in the West. And he's constantly sold the rights out here in the West. And he says all of this at the big public forum that I go to, so it's not inside info. He's out there actively saying this. And the people that own the rights, to be honest, keep saying like, "Oh, don't you worry, we're going to make this within the next 5 years." And then he's like, "All right." And then like as the years are passing, he's like, "Are you moving forward with your production? Why are you not?" Right? And so then like when that license runs out or something, he'll sell it to another person. "Oh, we'll do it within 5 years." Yeah. And now he's like, "I'm in my late 60s or getting there. Like, you're never going to make this movie. What the heck?" And the reason he wants the movie so bad is because of what you said, which is like it gets the franchise's existence out to so many more people that would never have known about it, right? Yeah. Obviously, he wants a really good movie, a Vampire Hunter D. That would be the best case scenario. But in any case scenario, the world is now more familiar with the Vampire Hunter D franchise. More people, just based on this movie, will go to the original source material and check things out. So for a mangaka and for anime studios and for original creators, to have a Hollywood adaptation of your stuff is such a big deal. Not just for you financially, personally, but also for getting the name of these creations you've made out into the world. So One Piece live action is announced. As a diehard One Piece fan and a One Piece animator, One Piece cannot be done better than it's been done already. I love One Piece. For me, I don't need a live action version of it as a fan. However, you know how much that's going to mean to the mangaka and to the publishers and everything? It's such a big deal, and it gets the word of One Piece out to so many more people. I think it's a good thing. So you know what? Do it if you want to do it. Is my opinion.
Yeah, and I totally agree. I think it's because, fans, we always get this little bubble where we think that we are the only people watching this,
right?
Engaging in content and things. But of course, there's a world outside. I'm sorry to bust your bubble, but there's
hardcore otaku out there
outside our bubbles.
The world is only in my head.
Yeah. So there are people that and we want them to watch it because that's the only way that we're going to have content still keep going because we need more money. Need, and artists need money, and we need to in order for content to be made, you have to have kind of.
And we're kind of even answering this from the assumption that it's going to be bad, right? Because we're almost saying okay, it's going to be bad, but it'll make more sales. Yeah. What if it's not bad? What if it's not bad? And if it's really good, then that's great. That helps that actually the brings us to the next
part of this category. So this topic. So the first part was should it be should people do it or not? And there. But now what happens when Hollywood? Now of course the fans on you guys are probably gonna. Comment that, but when Hollywood makes it, it always sucks and blah, blah, blah. You're right.
Often, yeah, you are right.
You're absolutely right. We were going through the list, we were like, nah, there has to be a lot of really good adaptations, so we were going we got what? You got Speed Racer, you got Dragon Ball Z, you got Super Mario, you got...
If you're going way back, the Guyver.
The Guyver. Oh, that was Western. I thought that was a Japanese one. Or
No. Oh, the Guyver also had Western movie adaptations.
Oh, okay, so the Guyver, and then Fist of the North Star was also Western.
Oh God, yeah.
And then most recently, Ghost in the Shell, which of course is my favorite, all-time favorite animation.
Battle Angel,
Alita, and
Pokemon, which you had just mentioned.
Pokemon. Yeah. Now it's interesting, so because. With Battle Angel, Alita, and so we'll kind of put out so in the beginning of the list there was a whole bunch of bad ones that I think people just universally agree it just sucked. They had nothing to do with the content.
No one's here to defend the live action Dragon Ball movie. I don't know how you would do that if you even tried.
It was just whatever.
What are you gonna do?
Now, but let's talk about more the larger what do you call it, blockbuster, the tentpole films, whatever. So you had Ghost in the Shell. I think Pokemon probably fits in that, right? I think it was. They tried to make it a blockbuster, summer blockbuster. So Pokemon, you got Ghost in the Shell.
I don't know if the recent Sonic would fit in, or if that's going too much into video games. But
yes, I guess it still counts as a remake, though. So we haven't watched it. It hasn't even come out in Japan yet.
So some other ones that might not have been based off of an anime adaptation, but Japanese manga. So Battle Angel only had one OVA for all intents and purposes. The movie is based on the manga. Similarly, manga Old Boy. The Korean film I thought was really awesome, but it was also even remade by Spike Lee in the West, and then what is it? All You Need Is Kill. I guess, which is Edge of Tomorrow.
Edge of Tomorrow. So we'll put that one in the really good list as well. So you got Edge of Tomorrow. You got Old Boy. So I won't say really good list, but let's just say the ones that kind of did a good job.
I guess what we're talking about now is have there ever been examples of ones that have done it really, really well, and maybe why? And then
the ones that tried to do well and almost succeeded, but then how did they fail, right? So I'd say for me, my list of they did it really well, and it's not visually bad, and they didn't veer off too far from the characters or even the story, but then at the same time it just felt I'm going to put Ghost in the Shell in that category because visually Ghost in the Shell is amazing. It looks really nice. Obviously they got some of the best CG artists and whatnot, visual effects companies to work on it. And they had Scarlett Johansson. I like Scarlett Johansson.
You'd put that in top tier or
no. So and the one that should have been top tier but then failed. So it almost got there, but then somehow it just fell off.
I see.
And then you got Edge of Tomorrow, which is amazing all the way around. And because a lot of people try to say, oh, it's a whitewashing and all this other stuff that sucks, that makes it suck. That's just a part of it. I felt that Ghost in the Shell could have been great even with Scarlett Johansson. I mean, look at Edge of Tomorrow. It's a Japanese manga. Most people didn't even know it, and I think that's where Ghost in the Shell failed. Because most people watched Edge of Tomorrow and just watched it as a movie,
a sci-fi movie.
And then it did really well, and it was amazing. There was nothing wrong with it. The story was great. It had a few changes. It didn't match the comic and all it. There were some aspects that they changed, but whatever. It was still a really good movie. And then Tom Cruise did a great job. He's a great actor, and the writers also did a good job. So, for me, that actually isn't the problem. I mean, sure, use Asian actors and blah blah blah, whatever. Use black people whenever you get a chance. Like that's a totally different topic.
It is.
I think, and I don't want to get in that whole. You should like no. Let's talk about that next. We're not talking about that.
That's an interesting conversation, but yeah, sometimes I do feel like the conversations get mixed. Whether something was just good or bad or not, and whether or whether or not it was properly had proper representation. It is possible, like, of course, that they fail in one but still succeed in the other. It is possible.
They could have had all the Japanese actors in that same storyline and it would still suck. So like Ghost in the Shell, because it's interesting because the reason I felt that, well, Hollywood has done one thing right, which is like, they are starting to listen to the fans a little bit more, and it's like they're starting to get to the source material, and I think they're taking things from the source material, which is important. Marvel obviously showed the reasons why you need to actually use the source material and how that can benefit your story. Now, does that mean that you have to follow it exactly? Look, Edge of Tomorrow didn't even take place in Japan or anything like that, and it was a great film. And I felt that they could have did the same thing with Ghost in the Shell, and it wouldn't have. And I felt like Ghost in the Shell probably where the fans actually ruined Ghost in the Shell. And I'm blaming the fans. Like sometimes we got to take the blame for it. We have to take responsibility because toxic fandom is a problem. And I felt that if the writers of Ghost in the Shell didn't feel forced to have to stick to the source material, they probably could have did a really good job. Because Ghost in the Shell could take place anywhere. You
were saying this for years before the Ghost in the Shell live action. Yeah, before I even knew that I was going to be like, Arthel was telling me, this is a perfect movie to make live action adaptation of. I hope they do someday. Because this actually doesn't even need to take place in Japan. It could be the Ghost in the Shell, Kokaku Hidotai, the Japanese name is even like Psychic Samad, Defense Force. So you could have that force, that police force almost located anywhere in the world.
It could be anywhere. And you can have any characters and anybody just kind of going after some cyber, like artificial intelligence, and then it would have been an amazing story, amazing sci-fi story. But it's because they felt that they had to use, Japan, and that they had to do this, and then the story just got all jumbled up. The writers didn't know what to write, and the directors didn't know how to direct. And I felt that was what kind of killed Ghost in the Shell. And I felt that so if you give the creators the freedom to do what it is, but the creators can't. But then there's the opposite, because the creators can't just be like, oh, it's all me now, I'm going to make whatever I want. You can't do that either. Yeah. It's like there's a balance, right? And so you have to have the freedom to be able to make an amazing world, but then do it the right way. Kind of that's kind of how I feel about that. But
for me, the only thing I want to add to the conversation real quick is just it is possible to do it right. We see probably 8 out of 10 times it failing, and then of the remaining 2 times, one of them is just kind of in between. But there's that 1 out of 10 that really is solid. And so when I hear things like there's a live action Akira or One Piece coming up, I'm not immediately a downer on it. Chances are it's going to be bad, just statistically. But I really liked Edge of Tomorrow. I really liked the live action Pokemon movie, and I really liked the Korean live action Old Boy. I thought Battle Angel, as a diehard Battle Angel fan, I couldn't help but be influenced by some of my nerdy that's not how it happened in the manga. And because I'm such a diehard Battle Angel fan, I had my complaints with the movie. But at the end of the day, it was still a solid movie.
I would say with story, because I'm not that big of a Battle Angel fan. I've only watched the OVA and I haven't read the manga or anything. But I do like the story, so I was excited when I heard that Battle Angel was coming out. But then when I watched it, just watching the film, I didn't like
some story
the story elements that was in it. So I was just like, and this could have been so great. Although it still is one of the ones that did.
It was more on the right track than it was on the wrong track at very least. And then I'll throw this in there kind of randomly. It's not a Japanese anime, but just kind of animation adaptation to live action. Look, the Marvel movies have been doing it right, recently. A lot of DC movies have been doing it right recently, and
a lot of DC. Oh, I don't know.
I didn't say all. I didn't say all. See how I said the Marvel movies. I was like, and then I said, and then some of the right. But some of the DC stuff is absolutely phenomenal. To be quite honest,
I really like that.
There's a lot that are really good. And then I'll also just throw in randomly, and this will be controversial, but I only watched it once, so maybe I should rewatch it to refresh. There was a live action Aeon Flux made. And Aeon Flux, the cartoon almost had no story at all. Like, it was very random little 5-minute short films that was almost not connected at all. Like, she died in some of them, and then the next one she's just alive.
Like running around,
and so, how are you going to turn that weirdo, artsy-fartsy thing into a live-action movie is what I thought. And then I watched it. Pretty decent. That was pretty good, actually.
And that's a good point, because if you could take something, because that's hard too. Because sometimes some of these animations and some of these games have no story, but they play well just because you're just running through a world and battling and cutting stuff up and you're doing it over and over again. That's fine for kids, right? But then you take that and then turn it into a movie.
Yeah.
We have to have plot and character development and all this other kind of stuff, and it's like, where does that come from? And so I actually agree, because I watched that live action of Aeon Flux like maybe 7 times.
Oh, okay. You watched it.
I watched it a lot of times, and it's not I'm not saying that it's an Oscar winner,
right?
But that's a totally different conversation. But it's not bad. I thought, wow, they did a good job turning it into live action.
So you know what? Lots more live action stuff's going to be coming out. Don't immediately be a downer on it right from the beginning. Give it a chance.
Hate it. Give it a chance.
Some of them are bound to be good
because it supports our industry,
and it does absolutely support our industry. All right, guys. Shtajio.
Shtajio.
See you next time.
Peace.